And if you're looking at construction, there are a couple of aspects that you have to manage when you're talking about what are you managing in the project. First thing you have to manage is time, because your project has to be on time. Projects, depending on the type of project or how big the project is, it can last for a couple of months or a couple of years or a year. So you have to look at task, right? Task helps us to manage time and helps us to look at our progress. Now, apart from managing time, you have to also manage cost, because every construction project is a financial decision. At the end of the day, whatever is being built is going to be valuable to somebody. It's probably going to be sold, and there's going to be profit involved. There's going to be cost. So of course you have to manage cost. That's two. So you manage time, you manage cost. You also have to manage quality. There are bad construction works and there are good construction works. So your construction work has to be good. You also have to manage materials. Materials are related to cost, but in a way they're one aspect of cost, because every construction project, not only do you need materials, you need laborers. You need laborers too. Another cost that comes. So you manage cost, you manage time, you manage people, and you manage quality. So that's what each of these database represent. And one last thing you manage also is risk. Every construction site, there's tendency for risk to occur. People can fall, people can get accidents, people can get injured. Okay. So what we're going to look at now is task. Now, if you are looking at construction management, when you're looking at tasks, there's a concept called work breakdown structure. Okay. In order to put up any type of structure, there's a process, it has steps. There is step one, step two, step three. If you want to concrete, there's step one, step two, step three. If you want to do any type of construction work, there's step one, step two, step three. If you want to concrete, you have to get the materials, mix the materials, do the formwork, do everything necessary. So now when you are doing something like a building, it also has a steps. So what work breakdown structure helps you to do is it helps you break down all of these steps. Some steps have substeps. So for example, if you're building a house, you have to start with the foundation, you have to start with setting out, then excavation. Then once you're done with the foundation, that's the foundation. You start with the ground floor. You can't start with the first floor before the ground floor. You have to start with the ground floor. You have to start with the first, then go on to the first floor and the second floor. So it has stages, right? So you can see here, I've kept on this database, I've kept building level to help me pinpoint what level. You can't do the second floor before the first floor. You can't do the first floor before the ground floor. So construction occurs in level. So this will help me focus on what level I am in the project. Okay, what level in the structure I am at. Activity type is to show you the activities. These activities are going to be common across all types of buildings. Okay, because every building, even the columns and pillars are different, even though the rooms are different, the operation is basically similar. What will change is the number and the aesthetics, maybe the space and the style, but they are basically the same. The operations are basically the same. Every building requires block work, every building requires lintel, every building requires casting of columns, structural elements. Okay, so this is what activity type represents. So when you look at unit progress, for unit progress, now you can see how much progress I've had in that particular activity, this activity type. So the activity type now I'm focusing on now is casting of upstand beam. I don't know if I've shown you the upstand beam. I have the upstand beam here because there's a video I did on casting, how to cast the upstand beam. So if you go in, upstand beam useful in building balconies. Okay, when you are doing the balcony, right? Some balconies use glass rails. Yeah, we're combining what concrete. So using glass rails, but our glass rail is going to be slipped into the concrete, into the upstand beam. So the upstand beam helping us to put our glass rail, okay, for our balcony. So this is just the plan of it, and this is the building plan. So let's go back to our management system. So you can see the activity here is upstand beam. And you can see that the upstand beam is going to be on the first and second floor. So from the building plan, you come to the building plan here. This is the front of the building here. You can see that the front of the building has a balcony on the first floor and on the second floor. You go back here again, you can see this is the back of the building. You can see the back of the building right here has what balcony what on the first and the second floor. So we actually have two balconies per floor. So if you come here again, then you see that I have put what building level. Is there a balcony? Is there an upstand beam on the first floor? Yes. On the second floor, yes. Now for this project, we have 13 villas in total, and for those 13 villas, they have numbers. Okay, and whatever we do on any of the villas, all the villas look the same. It's a residential estate, so everything is being done. All the buildings they look the same. So whatever we do in building one, we do it in building two. And assigned to us is about 13 villas, starting from 15 to 28, excluding villa 19. So what you see here now is I'm calling this part of my database. If you look up, you see it as units remaining. So I'll click on it. Now, if I'm done doing the casting, because we move from building to building, we do one building at a time. So if I use units remaining to track the number of villas that remain, okay, that have to be done. Automatically, if this unit remaining is done, like it's nothing is here, then this progress bar is going to be 100%. Okay, so before last week, I had, let me just add some of them because let me just add units 23, 24, okay, 25, and they started from Thursday, right? Started from Thursday. So last week, each day, the speed of our progress is we finish one particular beam. So it means that we cast the upstand beam for the first floor, the front and the back, and the second floor, the front of the building and the back of the building. We do like 4 upstand beams in one day. That's our rate, our progress rate. So throughout last week, Monday to Wednesday, we are done 25, we have done Villa 24, and we are done Villa 23. So once I've removed all of that, I can now see, okay, the villas we have to do remaining for this particular construction activity, which is castle of the upstand beam, is 22, 21, 20, 18, 17, 16, and 15. So in this way, I can track, okay, what have I done and what remains, right? Now, if you come here, like I said, this one tracks for the number of floors, all right? And since I'm going building to build, of course, I'll do floor 1 and floor 2. So whatever I do for second floor, I must do it for first floor, since I'm going building to building, right? So I'll come here and check. Can see it's also 22, that's correct. So on the first floor now, forecasting 22, all these ones remain. Also on the second floor, these ones remain. Okay, then I'll come back here. Then I can look at my progress. You can see that the progress says 46. It's actually 46. I have to click it for you to see it clearly. So you can see here, review with 11.12. You can see that it is 46, right? So that means that my progress is 46. I'm close to half of what the villas assigned to do this particular activity for. I'm close to half. My progress is close to half. Okay, that's the meaning. Okay, so that's the meaning of that. Now, if you come to here, this you can see that every activity has a timeline. You can see every activity has a timeline. Okay, this timeline I'm going to correct it. We're not actually late, but I'm going to correct it. So for each activity now, let's say you want to do something like block work now, you have to put the timeline on when you want to finish all those villas, then calculate how many you should do per week or per day. Okay, so for example now, if we have villas, let me see, if we have villas 18, 15, 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 20, 22. We have about, if we have about 7 villas remaining, okay, and I have like 1 week, I have like 1 week to finish it. All right, then that will probably be about what, 1 villa per day, because you have 7 days in a week. Of course, they're not going to work in, there will probably Sunday off, so that's 6. You have to find a way to shadow the 7. So that way you can manage your time. You can calculate, okay, oh, if my time frame for me to finish this particular activity, okay, for this project is from now to next week or for a month from now, and you know the work days, you can start calculating, okay, my target should be so 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 and so. Maybe a week I will do 3. And you must make sure you must do 3. Remember I said what, construction management, one aspect of it is what, managing what, time. That's how you manage your time. So here now you manage your time, but you also break down the work into smaller parts. Okay, you break down the work into smaller parts, and all the smaller parts you give it a what, a time. That's what all this timeline here you are seeing, that's what it's for. You break it down into small parts and you give it a timeline so that you can follow up when the project will start. So what this timeline have is, if I click it, it shows me, I can show you, you can see March 7th to what, to March 21. You can see that it's at 22 or at 22 now. Okay, but like that you can set the timeline on each particular. Maybe for example you want to deliver the entire project in a year. Now you have to break down, okay, to make this, for this project to be done, how many activities do I need to carry out? You list that. It's called work breakdown structure. It's a tool in construction management. You break down the big project into smaller tasks and subtasks. Then you now give those subtasks timeline, and you make sure you meet up with the timeline. So timeline here is very important for the task database. Now, what does critical task mean? Look at this. Say for example now, right? I know that I want to start doing block. Maybe in this particular time, I want to start doing block work for the ground floor. How can you do block work for the ground floor if maybe you've not done excavation or backfilling, or you've not done the German floor, or you've not casted the columns? You can't do the ground floor. So this is what I call critical task. So if a task is critical, if it depends, if it's a task that if it doesn't go on, other tasks cannot go on. Like for example, this upstand beam now that we are casting is not a critical task because it really depends on nothing. Okay, it's not as critical as something like decking, for example, if we're not done a particular floor. Okay, so some tasks are more important than other tasks, and some tasks, if they are delayed, will delay a chain of tasks. They can bring glass anytime to mount on the upstand beam. Okay, so that one is not so, it's not so important like that, right? So you mark it as a critical task. Now, this other column that you can see that they are showing overdue. Now, this is to show you that if a particular task has passed its timeline, the end date for that task is going to automatically mark. Okay, so this is just to make you see from above, oh, okay, this task is going there, oh, this task is overdue, you have to finish it on time. This one is showing that, oh, this task is critical. For if both of them are tick, just know that you are in soup. Know that that task must take, if the task is a critical task, and the timeline for the task is past, like it's past its timeline, then just know that you are in soup, and that task must take a priority. You must leave everything you are, as a matter, leave everything you are doing to fulfill that what task. Now, I've talked about unit progress. I've talked about activities. These activities are actually the subtasks that you break. You break your entire project into tasks and subtasks. That's what you put there as the name. Yeah. Now, this unit progress, like I said, is calculated from what? It's calculated from the number of units remaining. So with this simply now, I can go through it and see that, okay, I'm not behind. When it comes to timeline, I'm not behind. When it comes to activities, I can see the activity I ought to do next. This activity in progress on site. So every activity you see here are the activity that are in progress on site. Although I'm focusing on the upstand beam, window dressing is going on. Okay, window dressing is still going on. Remember, there's a lot of villas, right? Window dressing is going on. The carpenter and the iron bender is running iron for the lintel. And you look at down block work. They're doing block work for villa. They're doing block work right now for villa 7, for villa 16. All right. So what this does, it just tracks all the activities going on. You put it down. Okay. Is it on the first or on the second floor? The activity is going on. If it's on the first floor, you see it. So on the second floor, there's block work going on there. I will explain all these codings later in front of the name. All this 11.1 s to second, 11.1 s first. I'm going to explain all those things later. That is it for managing your tasks. Okay. The point of task is you can see the work, all the subtasks. You can manage individual time for the subtasks. You can look at the tasks that are critical. So the focus of task is time management. Later we're going to look at managing your costs, managing your quality, managing your materials.